Hey guys, I am excited for my monthly TBR video today. Like always, this is just my favorite video to film every single month. I love sharing all the books that I want to read coming up. I'm a true bookish person. I like shopping for books, I like holding books, I like smelling books, I like talking about books I read, books I want to read, all the things. And this is just one of the funnest videos to film each month. I am doing something different this month. I talked about it in my bullet journal video that I recently shared. I am going to be incredibly intentional with my books this month, my TBR, because I am hoping to somehow in some way participate in NaNoWriMo in November. I haven't quite figured out what I'm doing for that yet, but I would like to write something. So I need to leave myself a little bit more room in my month, and that means not cramming my TBR full like I did in October, which was wonderful. But sometimes I like to do things different. Sometimes I have a TBR for the month, sometimes I don't. And this time I am pre-picking every single book that I want to read this month. We'll see how this goes. I've never really done it exactly like this before. So I have a few different readathons and things that I'm going to be joining in the month of November, so I'll talk about them. I have my books kind of laid out here in front of me. I have 12 books, because that matched how many spaces were on my, I called it a reading journal. That's not really what it is, the video that I previously shared, but it's pretty much just where I'm writing down my TBR for the month. So the very first books that I'm going to be sharing are historical fiction books. So, wait a minute. Oh, that one goes on that stack. That's why I was confused. Okay, so I've got 2 historical fiction books because I plan on joining in, I think it's from the 1st to the 10th. Amanda from The Curly Reader and Angie from Science Mama, I think is her channel. I'll leave them linked below. They're doing Historathon 2.5, so instead of a full month and in February, they're doing it for 10 days and in November. So I have 2 books. I'm pretty sure this first one is, since it's set in 1964, we'll count it. The first one I'm gonna do is The Secret Life of Bees. So I shared this in my most recent library haul, and so many of you commented on this one. So this is by Sue Monk Kidd, and honestly, okay, I'm gonna read the first couple sentences off of the back because I don't know what this is. Set in South Carolina in 1964, The Secret Life of Bees tells the story of Lily Owens, whose life has been shaped around the blurry memory of the afternoon her mother was killed. When Lily's fierce-hearted black stand-in mother, Rosaline, insults 3 of the deepest racists in town, Lily decides to spring them both free. Okay, I don't know anything about this. Kind of going into it blind other than those few lines, but so many of you commented about this one. I am not huge into historical fiction. I think I would like to try to read more of it, hence why I picked 2 books for this month, but hopefully I actually enjoy it. And then my other historical fiction is One More River to Cross by Jane Kirkpatrick. I recently shared this when I shared my TBR shelf. So this is in 1844, 2 years before the Donner Party, the Stevens Murphy Townsend Company leaves Missouri to be the first wagons into California through the Sierra Nevada. They enjoy a safe journey until October, when a fierce mountain storm forces difficult decisions. I don't know what I think. I don't know anything about this either. I'm also not very good with history, so I don't know how much, going into history generally, I don't know how much is true and how much is fiction, and so when I read historical fiction, one thing I do like is that it makes me look up the the story behind the book and actually learn more about history. So these are my 2 picks. So I will be reading these at the beginning of the month, somewhere between the 1st and the 10th, to go with Historathon. Then I have 3 books for Non-Fiction November. So I am generally reading nonfiction constantly. Generally I at least have 1 Christian nonfiction that I'm reading kind of like a chapter a day from. But I thought I would do a little bit of a different nonfiction setup for this month. So the very first nonfiction book that I'm going to be reading is Robert McFarlane's Landmarks. This is another one that I shared in my library haul recently. I really don't know what this is, and these are just blurbs from different people on the back, so I don't know what this is. But I like Robert McFarlane's poetry, and I know this is something to do with, I'm assuming the English countryside. Let's just read the first sentence together. This is, okay, so chapter 1 is The Word Hoard. This is a book about the power of language, strong style, single words to shape our sense of place. It is a field guide to literature I love, and it is a word hoard of the astonishing lexis for landscape that exists in the comparison of islands, rivers, strands, fells, lochs, cities, towns, quarries, hedgerows, fields, and edgelands, uneasily known as Britain and Ireland. Okay, yeah, so I don't really know, but like I've said before, I'm kind of like just craving all things British these days. So if this makes me feel like I'm there, then I'm all for that. Okay, and then the next one is Christian nonfiction, but this is The Faithful Spy. So this is the story of Dietrich Bonhoeffer, told like in a very unique way. Gloria shared a list of some nonfiction November recommendations recently, and because Non-Fiction November has, I think, 4 different words that you can pick books based off of, or you can just read nonfiction. I'm not really going based off of the words, though some of these would fit for that, because I think one of the words is collection, and this is a collection of different writing. I don't even know what. But anyway, this one is really cool. So it's kind of like graphic novel, but kind of like novel with illustrations. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's really, really uniquely done. And I have read, I've started the Bonhoeffer book, like the really thick story of Dietrich Bonhoeffer, and found it incredibly boring. But I like the Christian Heroes Bonhoeffer story, so I thought this would be a fun one to read this month. And then the last one is Desperate, Hope for the Mom Who Needs to Breathe by Sarah May and Sally Clarkson. So this one is just kind of going to be my like more typical Christian nonfiction, where I'll just read a chapter a day for the stretch where I'm reading this. I got this a while ago from Book Outlet, and when I got it, I wasn't quite in the space where I needed this, but this has been quite the month where I feel like I could really benefit from this. The back says, I just can't be a mother today. These words have been whispered to God in quiet desperation by mothers who love their children to the depths of their soul, but who are struggling with how hard motherhood is. So that one I thought would be really good for November. Okay, now I've got my next stack here. During one of the weekends this month, I plan on doing a weekend reading vlog where I read a couple of the books that authors have sent to me. So I have 3 of them here, books that authors have sent to me that I haven't read yet. The first one is The Sword Speaker Saga. The first book here is True Silver. This is a Christian fantasy story that I'm really excited to get to, because it came with a really cool letter from the author, and it's got a map, and maps are always cool. Yeah, so this is, right, when I read the back of this, it reminded me a little bit of a cross between Skyward and the False Prince series, Ascendance series. So yeah, I'm excited about this one. Then I got another fantasy one. I think this is The Dragon and the Mask. I don't know much about this one. When evil arises from the bowels of earth, a community experiences the stain of innocent bloodshed and corruption. I don't know what this all covers, but I just randomly flipped to chapter 7, and this is the Irish Great Potato Famine from 1845 to 46. So do we like go through history quite a bit? 1867, Church Creek Falls. Okay, and then some of the chapters are just like people's names. I'm kind of confused. This is intriguing. So I've got that one. And then the last one is See You in My Dreams. This is a YA book about cyberbullying. Yeah, so those 3 will be part of a weekend reading vlog at some point in November. And then because I've just kind of been craving classics, and I so enjoyed North and South in October, I pulled out my other Elizabeth Gaskell book that I own, and that is Mary Barton. I don't know anything about this, honestly. I was just like, well, I like North and South. I have another one of her books. Let's just pick this one up. Oh, so this is her first novel. Portrays a city life in the hungry 40s of the 19th century. The plot turns on Mary's romantic choice between Henry Carson, the son of a rich industrialist, and her working-class lover, Jem Wilson, and the rivalries between them. I think it's so funny because North and South was written in 1855, so this one was 1848, and it talks about I don't know, like just like the romance and stuff, and it's like, romance back in the 1800s was a lot different than what a romance story now is. Yeah, so there's that one. And then the next three, I stuck them together on a stack, but they are just three that I picked up off of my TBR cart and shelf that I really want to read. So this book needs to get read this month. This is like one of my oldest books that I own that I haven't read and that I'm like really excited to read. So this is a magical revenge thriller set amid the private world of New York City's most influential citizens who feed off one another in a hidden game of magical dominance. Every time I read that, I'm like, how have I not read this book yet? I first came across this one like a couple years ago when Murphy was talking about it, and she really liked it, and I don't always like the same books that she does, but she made me really want to read it, and yet here it is still. So I'm going to read this one, finally. Then this next one is also going to work for the Read Your Bookshelf Challenge in November. The prompt is a book with a night scene, and if you're not part of that challenge, you still have time to jump on. So it goes all year, and I'm giving away a $100 gift certificate at the end of the year to someone that participated. So this book is Nightfall by Nancy Mell. I just shared this in my recent book haul. Look at me, guys, I'm like reading books that I just hauled. So this is starting a new series, the Quantico Files. Honestly, okay, for any little boy or girl, I didn't read this at all. For any little boy or girl who hears the trained man speak, who feels his rancid breath, caresses their pretty cheek, must close their eyes, pretend to sleep, and very softly pray, or else the evil trained man may carry them away. Okay, that was supposed to be like rhyming, but I did not read that properly. Finally free of her troubled upbringing, Alex Donovan is able to live out her childhood dream of working for the FBI. Okay, so somehow she is confronting her past. So I have no idea. I just got approved for the second book on NetGalley though, so I obviously want to read book 1 first. And so I'm going to read this and then possibly jump into book 2 right away in November as well. And then the final book. I shared this not in my last book haul, but the one before that. This is The Gender Game. So this is a YA book that was sent to me by my subscriber Emily, and this is for fans of The Hunger Games and Divergent. So it's a toxic river divides 19-year-old Violet Bates' world by gender. Women rule the East, men rule the West. That's all I've read. Sounds very interesting. Oh, the font is really big. So this is not necessarily the order I'm going to be reading these books in, other than I'm going to be reading the historical fiction books at the beginning of the month to fit with the dates of that readathon. But this is what I plan on reading in the month of November. Like I said, I've never like laid it out this much before. Normally I use the Hey Reader website and my TBR cart and I like randomly pick some books, but I knew I had 12 books and I had a bunch that I needed to read, really wanted to read, and then I kind of like filled it in with some other ones that I found. So we'll see how this works. I might do this again for December, just intentionally pick a set amount of books to read, and we'll see how that goes. And I mean, I might pick up more if I finish all these. I'm totally free to pick up more books, but I didn't want to push myself if I'm trying to leave space in my days to be writing as well in November. We'll see how that goes. So let me know some of the books that are on your TBR for November, and thanks for watching, guys.